Welcome, Village, to another episode of Jedi Learning, the Barbican 2. And today we're going to discuss something that I've been thinking about over the last couple of days. And since this is Freestyle Friday, we get to just kind of go off the top of the dome, off some things we wanted to discuss. So this week I've been watching this podcast called Bigger Pockets that my brother put me on to. It's about real estate development, and one of the guys on there was talking about how he makes his money in real estate and how he feels bad for his sister and her husband because they got a tremendous amount of debt that they're trying to pay back for all those college degrees that they got. That you can't eat the college degree. You have to actually learn how to do something. And in this environment, it's kind of difficult to employ yourself if you don't have the necessary skills that everybody's looking for. So with that being said, he went on to say, I'm lucky I went to college to a private Christian university, but I went there on a basketball scholarship. And I thought that was funny because the white boy looked kind of nerdy, but I bet his jumper was wet though. So that's besides the point. The point that I'm trying to make here is that college is a wrap. College is about to be over with, and we need to figure out what is next. What's the next step? So the data just came out yesterday, and the data said from the national, I think it was the clearinghouse, that enrollment for colleges is down like 3% going into this year. And that's been happening over the last 10 years, that college enrollment has been going down. And because of this college enrollment going down 3%, that's like 500,000 people. You're almost losing a whole generation of people just off college enrollment going down. So what are we supposed to do? This is the kind of where those stimulus checks come in, and where a lot of the big tech companies coming in talking about automation taking all the jobs is really going to send people towards. So what do? Now that you know that colleges are wrapping and is going away, you have to start to figure out where you can get in and where you can fit in. We need to start talking about apprenticeships. How can people learn how to feed themselves? How do you learn how to fish? Yeah, you can go to college and get you a degree, but what is it going to teach you how to do once you leave or once your job is no longer there? A lot of children are graduating from college with a certain degree, finally getting into the workforce and realizing, wait a minute, this job don't even exist anymore. It's either become the job of a computer or an algorithm or something else. So people have to figure out what to do. So you have this year graduating class that was 2020, their enrollment was down, like I said, 3%? So that's 500,000 students, and guess where most of those went? To the community colleges. And if the community colleges aren't getting any money, they're going to go bankrupt, and they're going to close their doors. So they're shutting down school programs, they're shutting down certain majors, they're shutting down sports, they're shutting down extracurricular activities. So, it's getting real hectic out there, and people are really having to figure out what they want to do. So the graduating seniors are saying, why would I pay all this money to go to a college where I'm online the whole time? I'm supposed to be paying for a degree where I can get the experience. I want to go to the frat parties, I want to chug some beer, I want to go to the games, I want to sit there and get sweaty with everybody. That's going out the door. So if there's no tuition, people are going to have to cut programs, they're going to have to cut teachers' salaries. The whole education field is going to have to be restructured. It's going to be about what you know how to do, and that's where those micro credentials come in. Do I know A++? Do I know coding? Do I know software development? Those are the things that you're going to have to prove. That has nothing to do with a degree. It has to do with you understanding how to do what they're asking you to do. So you looked at things like LinkedIn, you look at Indeed, now they have skills tests. So when you pass those skills tests, you get a badge. The badge says this person is certified to do X, Y, and Z. These are going to become your new degrees. These are going to allow the employer to know, wow, I can connect this person to this job without them having to sift through all your history. Nobody really cares about your degree half the time anyway, unless you go to a specific field. Doctors, nurses. There are a lot of degrees that we're still going to need, but unfortunately they're those high graduate degrees. And that's one of the colleges that have done well. There's two. For-profit colleges have done extremely well, even though they've gotten a lot of trouble lately. And also graduate schools, because they're all online already, and it's easier for them to advertise than the community college and for these undergraduate colleges. So you see all these things coming into place all at once, and people are really trying to figure out how to weather the storm. When you're looking at next next year's graduating class. You have to look at how many students have filled out the FAFSA already, and that's already down like 14%. So the children coming up for this next year are already saying, you know what, this is probably not a good deal for me to go to college. Maybe I'll go take a gap year and work. Maybe I'll go do something else and get my mind right. Maybe I'll go travel the African hillsides and then come back and then see what I want to do with my life. The problem with that is the longer time you take off, the less likely it is for you to go back. So you end up getting in a stuck mode. You go into fast food or something like that, making $15,000 a year. That's a lot of money if you have $0 a year going up into that point. But you set yourself back in trying to gain something that can allow you to access. But now you have options. Now you can go get those skills. Now we need to talk about apprenticeships. So what is the state doing when they see all this stuff coming? They're going to appoint a new Secretary of Education. As you know, the last one, Betsy DeVos, said, I'm focused on not giving the public schools any money because we see what they've been doing for the last 20 or 30 years. We need to give children more options. We need to give family more options. We're going to give these private school vouchers. We're going to do more apprenticeships. Some things that I actually agree with, no matter what I thought about the administration as a whole. But the new Secretary of Education, and there's two that are on deck right now. One of them is Leslie Fenwick, a Howard University educator, and the other one is Miguel Cardona, who was from Connecticut. He's the top educator out there in that particular state. He just believes that all students should go back to school, that in-person learning is better than remote learning. And for some people, that is absolutely the case. I will not say lie and say that that's not happening. But for in-person learning, he just wants you to go back. Another problem with that is, who does that affect most? Black people. And you might say, why might that be the case? Well, you might realize arrests have been down in school. In-school arrests have been down. Discipline has been down. Injuries, restraints have been down. All these things are going down because people are not in school. And that's actually a good thing for some people, especially for those demographics who are always in trouble with school law enforcement. So Miguel Cardona wants to send you back to school no matter what. He doesn't really think that anything else should be done. Status quo, keep everything going, and give me some more funding from the government. So what does Miss Fenwick think? She's a little bit more forward thinking. She definitely understands, for Black people specifically, that you have to have some type of African-centered education. She just wrote a piece with Chike Akua, a brother who I was able to meet at an independent African-centered school conference maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And they basically laid out a plan about how schools can implement African and African-American history into the curriculum. So she understands that part. But she says that any attempts to reform school is just a scheme, and that people should just look to the government for more funding to continue the status quo. I have to say absolutely not. And I would have to say no to both of those situations. If you think that education in this country has been working over the last 50 years, just look at the math and the reading scores, and you will see, compared to other industrialized nations, we are not doing so well. And this has been going on for quite some time, so this is not new. We see the decline of your college school system. You see the shutdown of all your public school systems as far as, elementaries and junior highs. But what's thriving? We just told you. Graduate schools and for-profit colleges. The same thing is going to happen in the grade school level, because people are starting to understand and realize there are options out there. I don't just have to send my child to the local school down the street. I can actually pay a little bit more for a much better education. They actually get the skills that they need, and they can implement those skills. I know what they're learning. Another thing that's coming up with the Biden administration is that although they do want to push for more funding, they want children to get back in the classroom as soon as possible, they're not really being specific as to what the accountability looks like. So they're going to get rid of all of it. They're saying testing is not necessary. And I would have to agree with them on that part. So the SAT and ACT is gone. We know that. Those have been wrapped up for some time. And all these other standardized tests are going to be gone for some while. So they're even departing from the Obama administration when it comes to that. The only problem with that is, at that time with the testing, at least you knew what your children didn't know. When there's no testing at all, you're not even going to know what your children don't know anymore. So what do we do? You need to start to take education into your own hands. It has been proven time and time again that the parents' involvement in their child's education is the number one thing that is going to help them succeed. It is not what classes you take. It is not what school you went to. It is not anything else like that. Tutoring and the involvement of parents in their child's education are two of the top things that can impact their educational achievement. You know what they're learning. It is culturally relevant, and it should be centered around you gaining skills that you can actually use in this new work environment. So you're going to have to know entrepreneurship. You're going to have to understand real estate. These are things that you don't have to go to anybody's university to learn. And if you can start a website and you can sell whatever your talent is, then that's going to be the way of the future. You look at the stock market and you see companies like Wix and things like that that help people to get online and sell their products and promote themselves. Those are all going skyrocketing because that's the wave of the future. So we come to the part where I need to quit running my mouth and let everybody get on with their day. But since this is a Freestyle Friday, I thought I'd come out here and drop a verse for everybody out there. So thank you for everybody who participated and showed some love. Dr. Zoha Fazil, really good friend, had to say what's up to you. Rissarelli, another good friend out there supporting this Jedi Learning Freestyle Friday. So we hope to do this again real soon. We hope you can bring you some more information that's very, very relevant to you. But as of right now, we must say that colleges look like they on their way to the ICU. Unfortunately, if they're in California, you already at maximum capacity, so ain't no reviving. But we will catch you on the rebound. This has been Bobby Ken 2 with another episode of Jedi Learning, and we will see you very soon. Peace. Thanks for watching.